Welcome to the Nobody Knowz podcast with Callie Zamzo. Join us for conversations with local changemakers and hear the stories that don't always get told. It'll be honest, messy and beautiful, touching and humorous. Slow down, pour a glass, and pull up a chair. This is the Nobody Knowz podcast.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. Welcome to Nobody Knowz. I'm your host, Callie Zamzo. And I like St. Patrick's Day. It's kind of it's a good hopeful sort of time of year, and we have some fun things going on. I'm very excited about our guest today. And before I get to that, I want to do a little personal plug. So, Jody, I decided to do a piece of watercolor art and put it in the 42nd annual Rotunda show that's happening at the Capitol building.
You're an official artist.
Let's not go there.
No,
it makes
you
me
are.
It makes me palm sweat. I can't even.
I can accept sweaty palms, but you are a featured artist. You've made it. You've done it.
Okay, let's be honest here. It's the first 75 people who put their name in get to be there. So let's
don't hate the player, hate the game. You're in.
Anyway, to support my fellow Idaho watercolor artists, please go to the Capitol building. It's in the Rotunda. I think the Capitol building it's open more hours now that we're out of COVID and all that fun stuff. So you can look it up online, but it goes on now through March 28th.
I want to check it out. What did you do? What was your subject?
It is I took a picture of a brownstone in New York when I was taking my daughter to college that had a red door, and I was captivated by it. Well, I took the picture, and then when I decided to do this, I was like, well, I'm just going to paint that. I'm going to use the picture. And then partway through, I'm like, I'm in way over my head here. I cannot do this. Anyway, it's called Red Door. And I did end up completing it I heard somebody tell me recently that you never really complete art, you just abandon it.
There's some truth to that.
I definitely feel that way. And there are a bunch of, when I look at it, even now I'm like, I see that I should have done this. I should have done this. So it's not perfect, but
it's just version 1. Artist proof number 1.
There you go. I don't think I could try to do that one again. I was skiing over my tips. What is that?
Yeah.
Was that what it's called?
Over the tips?
Yeah.
You outpunted the coverage?
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. So anyway, be kind. But there is a People's Choice Award, so you can
I'm going to go vote.
You can vote.
For it.
Yes. You don't have to vote for mine, but vote for the one that you think is the best.
Red Door sounds great to me.
Well, there you go. Also, I wanted to give the Zamzo's tip of the day, or tip of the week, I guess. And it is that we are going to have a lawn care college on Saturday, the 21st, 2026, again, if you're in the future. And we'll teach you all sorts of things about lawn care and understanding how to, if you have a special little dry area or a problem, you can bring that with you. You can ask our experts and we'll happily help you. There will also be a one-day sale. So, and it's all things like lawn and, sort of products and whatnot. So come on in, learn a thing or two, save some money, get yourself started to have the most beautiful lawn in the neighborhood. Okay. I have to tell you, I'm so excited for this lead-in because there's going to be a moment with you and I. Yeah, here we go. So I live in this neighborhood, and there is a cat in our neighborhood.
Oh, you're kidding.
And he's a large cat. Now, not fat, very lean. He looks like a leopard. We see him around the neighborhood, and we initially would see him mostly at night. We would see him crossing the street and be like, what was that? We thought it was something, it wasn't a cat. It was just so wild animal like, and he didn't come near us, and then we began to find his collars around the neighborhood. Now, I don't think we fully connected the dots that this amazing creature was the same person, listen to me, the same cat that was losing his collar, but we would find this collar, and then we quickly learned from the collar that his name was Rudy, and there was a phone number, and we would text and say, we found this collar, we're putting it here for you. We'd get a nice text back from a lady on the other side saying, oh gosh, that's my cat's collar, I'll come get it. And so that went on for a little while. And then we recently saw somebody trying to, what we thought, we were on a walk in the neighborhood, and we thought somebody was trying to catch Rudy. And we were giggling to ourselves. We're like, that person is up in the night if they think they're going to catch that cat, because he does his own thing. Like he's the master of his own universe. And we see this lady and we're like, oh, this woman doesn't know what she, and I kind of thought maybe she's trying to steal him. We weren't sure. So we come up and kind of like, hi. So that's Rudy. And she's like, uh-huh. I'm like, oh, are you Rudy's mom? And she was like, I am. And we were like, oh, the skies parted. And my husband and I said, well, hi, we're the ones who find your collar everywhere. And
I did not know that you're the other side.
I know.
I was looking down, and I looked up briefly, and I was like trying to get him, and you're just like, oh, you're never going. I know I'm not going to get him. I'm just gonna like. I'm just saying hi, as he's on his. My neighbor said, oh, we saw Rudy on his way to work today, on his path around the neighborhood. But I usually don't see him when I'm out and about, so I stopped to say hi. And I didn't even actually like look you in the face. I think I was so focused.
And all of our texts are all first names, and so she doesn't know.
When I usually
like this is the reveal, husband. And I've been so excited to be like, we're the couple that like.
That is so funny.
And recently, even because
I was in your backyard.
Yes, you're like, is it okay? Because like, and so we have cameras at our house, and so sometimes she'll say, hey, have you had any Rudy sightings? And we'll look up at the cameras. Oh, yep, at 10:31 last night, he was, killing a mouse out in our backyard, or whatever. And yes, and she'll come over and get her cat and bring the cat back home. And everybody, by the way, I should let you know this, everybody in the neighborhood knows this cat. It's like the neighborhood owns this cat. We all love him. We're all just amazed by him. But really, he's his own man. Like you're not picking him up and like canoodling with him. He's in fact, the other day, there was a big pile of white that we thought was feathers. When we looked up at the cameras, it was a little bit of a cat fight, and Rudy kicked the other cat's ass, is what happened.
I'm trying to figure out who he tussles with. There's only one neighbor that can actually put hands on him, and I can't tell you how many collars and name tags I have bought, knowing that, going back, I would say that Rudy has taught me a lot about control. Or
the lack thereof.
And just knowing that there's things in the universe that you cannot and should not have control over, and you just have to be okay with it.
Yeah.
And find your way to balance. I've never had an outdoor cat before, and he was never going to be an indoor cat. And so I've bought hundreds of these collars. I've stopped buying the name tags but through that, I have got probably 6 or 7 people that when I start to freak out, because if he's mad at me, he'll stay away for 3 or 4 days. Usually if I've taken a trip, and then I can just like text your husband, like, have you seen him? I hate to bother you, but like, and then sometimes I'll just, usually if I take like a 2-week trip, which happens very infrequently, then I have to go get him. But there's one neighbor, the first one, it took her a year before she ever heard him meow. And then she said, oh my God, he let me pet him. Mm-hmm. And she can actually hold him until I get there. And then he looks at her like, you're such a traitor. Traitor!
Well, I think Clint's very close because he's definitely pet him before. I just think he probably could pick him up. He probably would let him, but I think he just tries to like let him.
That is so funny. I remember that moment, and I kind of looked only sideways and just like focused on the cat.
Yes. And we never exchanged last names. So here's the funny part, lest you feel badly about this. Well, I didn't piece it together. So I told Clint, I'm like, okay. He's like, well, who are the podcast people this week? And so I gave him, and he was like, holy shit. Like, what? You don't know who that is, do you? And I'm like, well, I don't. And I start reading like all your bio here, which I'm about to read. I will do you justice here. I apologize for just.
Sometimes it's best just to be known as Rudy's mom or Addie and Ellie's mom, and that's good enough.
Yes, I feel that. Anyway, he was the one who connected that out for me too. And then once we realized it, I'm like, I can't wait to do the review. I'm like, I hope she doesn't recognize me. So I was really hoping that would work out.
Because I also think, you had our walking around the neighborhood hat and Sunday.
I'm always like,
mess.
yes, I've got everything. Yeah, that's anyway. Just on behalf of the neighborhood, thank you. Thank you for having Rudy be a part of our lives. We love that cat like he was our own.
It makes me really happy. I've learned a lot about, like I said, control, but also community that I already knew. But seeing it in action in this case has been, it's been really, really nice.
Yeah. Our cat does not like Rudy at all.
Yeah, I heard, Clint told me that. Yes. He's like, he sent me pictures of the back of your cat staring at
Yeah.
Rudy out the window.
She puffs out her tail and looks like a raccoon when he comes. He just walks right up and he'll walk up to the window and like look right at her, and she'll just be like,
Hey.
yeah, you cannot be in my backyard. Even I can't be in my backyard. Yeah, she gets very upset. But he's a wonderful mouser too. He keeps us completely free of mice.
And squirrels. I hate to say it.
Oh, he hasn't gotten any of our squirrels, and he doesn't, because we have a lot of birds. He doesn't seem to go for the birds. He likes the mice.
I think he's taken the occasional one that he's a downed bird that he might have found.
Right.
But he's definitely went through a couple summers of heavy squirreling.
Yeah.
My neighbor to the west really appreciates that because it keeps them out of his cushions.
Oh, well, there's that. See, he's just the gift.
The gift.
The gift of Rudy just keeps on giving.
One time, I'll tell you, I put an air tag on him because someone's like, you should see where he goes. And I said, I don't know if there's some things you don't want to know, like where your teenager goes at night or where your cat goes, because it could be scary. You just have to trust. But I did it once. It lasted half a day, and he lost it on the other side of Orchard.
Wow.
And that's something I did not want to know.
No, that's scary.
And I could never find it because it's in someone's backyard. And I'm like, that's something I could have lived without knowing.
Yeah.
He also goes down and hangs out with the shop cat down the Hillcrest where, where they do all the maintenance on there. So he goes down there. But he's quite the swath.
He's so great. Maybe on one of my social posts, I'll put a picture of him on there so people can see, because he is a very exotic looking cat.
He's pretty.
And he's massive.
Yeah, he's strong.
So, yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Now I'm going to pull my stuff here together. So, welcome to the show, Lori Shandro. She's the co-founder and CFO of Duck Club Entertainment. She's the co-founder and producer of Treefort Music Fest. She's the owner of the Shandro Group. She's the cultural builder behind one of Boise's biggest movements. And she's Rudy's mom.
That's right.
So please welcome to the studio.
Thank you
Lori.
so much for having me.
Yes, it's so great to have you. And thank you for letting me just
That's
geek
fantastic.
out on that story. I've been so excited about it ever since I learned. Yeah, so good. Okay, so before we get rolling, why don't we start with Duck Club, and because there's so much to talk about at this point, and tell us kind of how it all began.
Well, so I met Adam Shandro when I was living in Seattle, and he grew up here. And I'd moved to Seattle from San Francisco, where I'd gone to university and got an accounting degree and started working in public accounting, very exotic. And then I moved up to Seattle, and that's where I met him. And he grew up here, and he brought me here that summer to meet his mom. And it wasn't very long through the weekend before I had decided I wanted to move here. And so I applied for a transfer to the accounting office here that was the same firm that I worked in, and let him know and told him I hope he would come with me. So, so that was in 1999. And the reason I say that is because I ended up starting my insurance business. I was here for less than a year and realized that we didn't necessarily want to live in Idaho and work the kind of hours that you do in public accounting at that point in time. So I had been in the taxation of insurance companies. So that's when I found the ability to start a brokerage for individuals and families and small businesses back in 2001. And he was a part of that. And then we had our children, and he was a wonderful stay-at-home dad. It was just... And I ran the business and did my work and loved it. You get to meet a lot of different types of people doing that kind of work. And so, but then when they were 6 and 3, he passed away. And that just changed, of course, it changed our lives, but at the time, our kids were old enough where he wanted to combine the things we were interested in. And so he had his airplane that he loved to fly, and I was starting to rediscover the ability to discover bands that I wanted to go see. But I noticed that a lot of them weren't coming to Boise. Mm-hmm. And so he said, okay, let's pick one nearby that you want to see, and then we'll go and we'll see them. And we did that once, and then he passed away. And then after that, it just changes your perspective on how far out you can plan, what is scary, what things are bad. And so I say that because about a year later, I met a friend who kind of was feeling the same way, that a lot of the bands that we wanted to see that were more up and coming when I was growing up, when you wanted to find a band, you turned on the radio and that's all you had, or you went down to the record store and you leafed through everything. That's what you had. But having the internet and the ability there was just an endless source of artists you could discover. But this friend of mine was getting his MBA, and he said the same thing. He's just like, we should, have a venue that really focuses on bringing these bands through town and marketing to the people that want to see them. And so he needed an internship for his MBA, and we came up with the idea to make it an internship that I paid for him to travel around and do some research and figure out what kind of venue could exist here and how could it be financially sustainable that would really attract people who wanted to see small, independent, up-and-coming businesses and bring those artists through town. And so at the end of the project, we had this business plan, didn't really have anything to do with it. And Drew, my friend, I said, it's up to you. What do you want to do next? And the next thing was to maybe try and see if we could put some of the marketing practices in place and book a show of some sort, which of course we had no idea how to do. Not even a clue. And so I think one of the funnier things that I forget about is I'm like, okay, we picked this band. They're going to be in, I can't remember who it is, some small band. They're going to be in Utah around the time. I'm just going to email their agent and see if we can have a show with them here around that time. And it was, at the time, I didn't realize this, one of the biggest agents at one of the biggest agencies out there. And I had no idea who he was. And he's like, let me give you some advice. No band, no agent is going to just book their band with someone who's never done it before, because you could just be, booking them for some kid's birthday party. That's not really good for their career. Go find someone who knows how to do this and work with them. And he was very sweet. And so that's when we both together came across someone in town that we both had known from different angles, Eric Gilbert, that was about the same time that Radio Boise had come online. And I think that was a galvanizing place where I think a lot of people who listened to emerging artists were out there but weren't connected as much by anything. And he had and still has a show on Monday mornings called Antler Crafts, and really focuses on trying to play music from local artists and also artists that are playing in town so that people become aware of them and go see them. And so, and he'd also been in a touring band for a long time and he toured with Bill to Spill. And so we both approached Eric from different angles and said, this is we don't know what we're doing. We just have this idea. And he had the idea for basically trying to get artists from South by Southwest to route here from where they already were at the beginning of touring season and have a festival that really highlighted our local talent and brought some of those artists through town. Sure, let's try it. Put a budget together and see what happens. And it was probably a couple of weeks later where he called me up and he said, we're going to need a bigger parking lot, because if you've ever met Eric Gilbert, you realize that he's truly the inspiration behind all of this that has happened. I was just lucky enough to be one part of it, and an important part. And so Drew and Eric and then Megan, she was one of our co-founders too, because she was part of the scene and knew marketing. We started to put that first one together, and just people came out of the woodwork, and it was just a snowball from there.
I'm kind of piecing together, and I love how authentic you're being about the fact that there was some definite intention there, but you didn't really know what you were doing yet. No. And so it was about like gathering partners and then learning, probably like drinking from a fire hose.
Yeah, I think it was more about, meeting someone that I was in a moment to, and I was inspired to pursue an idea, and then we had something and we met somebody else, or we were inspired to continue to follow, and more people joined with their inspirations and they're part of it. It's not something that I don't think you could ever set out to make happen the way it did. Yeah. It was about time and place and the people in this community that wanted something to happen, and the ability to join on and make it happen.
Did you kind of learn something about yourself? Like before doing this, is it a long history of a whole bunch of things like this that you've done, or is this kind of okay?
Not even a little bit. I always figured I'd be an employee of a company until I retired with the clock. And that's because that's how I was raised. That's what I saw. And then when I got here as a CPA in a public accounting firm, I thought that was my path. And then I got here, and this community is different from anywhere else I've ever lived as far as, and so was Adam, showing me a different path for being able to be a part of a place and do things and connect with people and make change and actually have an effect as far as where you were. And I think what I learned through that, and then this accidental project that just snowballed, is my part of it, I think, was one skill set that was needed that I could apply. The kind of the financial, the business planning part, also the problem solving part. Mm-hmm. So I think through all of that, I learned that I really think I enjoy being a part of a community where we all are pieces, parts of what is needed. And then it's just about figuring out how we can come together. And it's for me, it's the right size and type of place and moment for those things to happen.
Yeah, I'll say.
Yeah.
I mean, it's now become, I mean, in some ways synonymous with the city. I mean, people sometimes people are learning about Boise because of Treefort. Like, it's amazing.
And that intention, I was something that Eric taught me and taught us. And I was just very grateful and very lucky to have been a part of where he inspired me, taught me about what's here and the music scene and how it works and how it is an ecosystem and how it is a really important part of a vibrant community and how it can be developed and how we can have that be here and it be somebody's meaningful path for living, and they can work in that space. And it's really an important part of everything that's here. Business, people wanting to live here, and he was really the inspiration in teaching me what was possible, and then we continued to work at making it a reality.
Mm. So, other than we all know about Treefort, what does the day-to-day of Duck Club look like?
Oh, I think you started with the question of Duck Club. So Duck Club.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I know. When you said Duck Club,
I was going right along with I was just flowing. So glad you remembered.
So originally, when we were putting together this business plan for a potential venue, we called it the Duck Club, and that's what brings me back to Adam. Is after we moved here, he found a love for bird hunting and more just bird space and watching, and we had a piece of property that the members of it called Duck Club. And that's where we would go and watch our dog run and chase up birds, and it was really his happy place. And so after he passed and we started to work on this, I thought, well, if this ever comes to be, it would be my happy place, potentially. And my co-founders just honored that name. We made it was really the business name, the company that is the company that puts on Treefort and that is really the parent of everything, is the Duck Club.
Okay.
And so it became the arm that after the first Treefort worked on bringing artists through town and filling everyone's venues with artists that were coming through town, emerging artists. And so that's where that name came from. And so now that once the festival took over and drug us down the street for a few years, and we just tried to catch up, we got the opportunity with the pandemic to pause. Well, we were forced to have the opportunity to really pause.
I was just going to say, you just said that in such a lovely way, like so zen.
I mean, it was when you mentioned the CFO of Duck Club and Treefort, that was a job that a role I took on after the pandemic because of the need to save what we just fill the hole, we called it. We had to cancel that festival like 2 weeks, 10 days before the 2020 festival. And so, anyone who was doing anything when the pandemic hit had to lean in 200% to whatever they were doing. So if you're involved in two businesses, now you're, heavily involved. Mm-hmm. And so the process of figuring out how to, we didn't want to ask artists for the money back or, anyone that we'd paid to get to that point. I mean, that's not, we had to figure out how to work together to get us to the point where we could save it. So there was a lot of work on grant writing and fundraising, but also the pause that it gave us to step back and look at, how can we better organize as this year-round team and really create something that is what we've talked about, where it's where somebody can live and work and have a meaningful job and career in the space of live music in Boise. And we'd been talking to Hendrix, who is a developer that had come to town, about some various spaces they had, about they wanted us to put a venue in one of them. So we finally were given the opportunity during that time to build a venue of our own. And so having that, and then about a year later, getting the opportunity to take over the El Kara Shrine because they needed to move out. And that's a venue that we used. It really, that time gave us a chance to pause and look at the big picture. We had lots of people working on the festival in pieces parts, and also working in the promotion side in pieces parts. And but like I said, we've been getting drugged down the street by this thing that took off, and without the opportunity to step back and say, let's look at a bigger picture because we have this moment. And so that's when we created a year-round team that could work on and focus on all of it, and really the intent of what all of it could do and be a part of this community. So that's where Duck Club Presents really came into being, something that was more out front, in front of people, as opposed to just everyone just thought all we were was Treefort.
Right. So there's quite a few. So what are some of the other, like, in addition to Treefort, what are some of the other events that you produce? Is produce the right word?
Yeah.
Okay.
Promote. Okay. The promotion is a term that, when an agent calls up and says, we have this artist coming through town, what's the best room? And then, the promoting company books the show in a venue and sells the tickets and does the marketing and puts on the show.
Gotcha.
And so we started doing that in 2012, right after that first Treefort. And then now we have our own spaces. So now we put artists at the festival, we put them in our own spaces. We still put them in other people's spaces when it's appropriate. But now we have the music hall, which is an all ages music space and event space that other promoters can use, and we use it, and also can be used for private events. But it's important that as many of the spaces that we've created as possible are all ages, and so we worked real hard to make sure that would always be something that is accessible for if someone who wants to get involved in live music, whether listening to it, discovering it, or putting it on, or being in a band, that they shouldn't have to wait until they're 21 to really be part of that community. So as much of what we do as we can, we make all ages. So the Treefort Music Hall is all ages. The El Kara Shrine, the ballroom upstairs, is another space that where we put artists, and that's always all ages. And now we have the downstairs space in the shrine basement that we've created for smaller artists to start and grow through, also all ages. And then then we have Hap Hap, which is the 21 and up indoor-outdoor bar that is open. It's kind of just part of the whole business plan, part of the building. And so that is accessible from a different door. And we do a lot of small programming up there, like DJs and events, that kind of thing. But it's open. It's a bar and lounge that's open 6 days a week from 4 until whenever. So those are our spaces. And we have the music festival, of course, Treefort Music Fest. In 2020, we did Snowfort up at Tamarack, which was a month before Treefort. And then, of course, we had to take a bit of a break. And now we've had 2 Snowforts since then, and this will be our third, just this first week of March, just passed. Mm-hmm. And so I think those are the main things. We did a Flipside Fest for 2 years, and that really came out of that came out of a different kind of opportunity and need, and so we put that on pause for now. But we did that for a couple of years in Garden City, and that was fun.
What is your team like? I'm imagining as you're talking about all these things, and you, the way you speak of them, they sound like family.
Yeah, absolutely. I always said when I talked about Treefort in the first many years that most of the people that if you're standing in any crowd in front of a stage, probably half of the people there made it happen in some way, shape, or form, as far as like being a sponsor or someone who helped by being a volunteer or brought food or all of the many ways. I think this is one of the things you can't really recreate it anywhere else, because it really is built by the people in this community. And so as we had people that took leading roles and really kind of led their area of need, whether it be production or the visual design or volunteer coordinating, those kinds of things, those are the people that really became the year-round team for Duck Club Entertainment. And so they have jobs year-round, not just what they focus on in the festival. And that's about 22, 23 people. And that's probably not enough for what we do. They're a lean team that works really hard and believes in the lift of what we've been trying to do, and we feel like we're almost there. It feels like it's almost landed. So that's the solid year-round team. And then we have the extended Treefort team. They start coming on maybe in the fall to really kind of do what they do, like all of the artist hospitality. That's one of the most amazing pieces to me. Steph Coyle has been coordinating that since day one, and really getting everyone in this community to participate in giving and providing or selling or trading for the hospitality that these artists have come to know us by. They know that they come to Boise and Treefort, they're going to get treated with the A1 Boise hospitality, and they're going to be treated like family and a local. So that's one of those people that is part of the Treefort team that leads that area. So we probably have about another 30 people like that. And then, of course, we have our nearly 800 volunteers that come on. And I've talked to a lot of volunteers that said they really don't want to just buy a pass and go to Treefort. It's meaningful for them to work their shifts to earn their pass and be a part of the festival. So that's a whole nother, you can't, those are very special people, and someone who can coordinate those people and bring them out and set that all up. That's just, you can't recreate that. It just has to be where it is.
Yeah, it's extraordinary when you think about that many people who
and knock on wood, with so few problems, and I think because, and I always say my job is to lay awake at night and worry about the
hey, that's my job.
I know, lay awake at night and worry about all the things that can happen, and there's been so little of that, because I think that this community feels like they own and are responsible for everything that happens during the festival, or they know someone who is. And so the intent, I feel like the intention is just of what everyone here and what we're trying to do, and the intention, I think, is felt and known by the people that are attending the event or attending the festival. I think that's what really makes it go as well as it does.
Yeah, it really is extraordinary. I'm wondering if you could go back and talk to yourself, who was at the beginning of this journey. What word of encouragement, what thing would you tell yourself that, like, you'll be surprised about this, but this will happen, or this is how you might feel, or what would you say to your younger self?
I would say you're right to trust your gut. And this feeling that you're following, that feels like there's no choice, and I know you're tired, but you're not crazy. You're right to follow this.
Wow, that's great. That's true for so many things. And so many times we do override that voice.
Yeah. And I think that moment that I was in, that I talked about when something major happens, I think that opened up just a different way of thinking. And in that moment, that's really was part of it. And I just followed it, and it felt right. And so I think I would tell myself that, I didn't really feel like I had a choice or it was a decision. I just felt very lucky, and also like it was just the right thing to do. So.
Well, thank you on behalf of Boise for following your gut, and for the sleepless nights, and for all the effort that you've put on, because it really has been, it's changed the city. It's you will forever have left a something permanent with the city, that music is a part of who we are. And I think maybe it was something that was there always, but we needed somebody to lead us and help us figure out that needs to be a more of a heart.
Or a lot of someone's. And that's really when I go back to that moment. It was a moment in time with the people who were there that all came together in a way that really, for a long time, people were saying, are you going to do this in another place? And I just kind of like, first of all, no, super tired. And I still have my day job. Second of all, and I'm a single parent. But also, you just can't. You couldn't. It was a moment in time that I feel like a lot of us were lucky to be a part of and continue to be a part of.
Yeah. So you also run the Shandro group.
Yes.
And so can you tell us a little bit about that? And what do you do?
I love my day job. It's been, as someone who's been doing it now for 26 years, I realized that I think what I did before in working in taxes was really trying to help people with a scary thing and make it less scary. And that's really what I do with health insurance and benefits. And my passion is working for small startup employee, the self-employed business. And it's not insurance that when you go to, what do you want to be when you grow up? It had nothing to do with insurance. What you come to learn, at least what I came to learn, is what I love about what I do are all the people that I get to help and be a part of their business.
Yeah.
They start from, I've had businesses that go from 2 to 200 and then back down to 50 and then, get bought, or 2 to 20 and then back down to a bunch of individual policies. And I've watched people navigate challenges and have kids, and I watch them grow up, and just being a meaningful part of these people's journeys, because health insurance is not, it is not good. It's not, it's our system is confusing. It's only gotten more confusing. It's hard. And it's a really big, scary, important topic. And so I have always loved my day job.
Yeah.
And so that's, sometimes I'll go into an employee meeting, and over the past few years, and someone will first introduce me as the person who started Treefort, and I just feel like, but I'm really good at what I do, that I'm here to do. Like, I know that's confusing. Like, how can you be doing that and then still, do a good job of helping me with my health insurance issues and problems? And that was always an awkward moment for me. I know that they were trying to be like nice and be proud of something else that I did. But yeah, I got, it was really tiring doing both of those things at the same time.
Yeah.
And that was, I do feel like I missed a lot of the cool opportunities that we even created. Just to not look up and spend more time with the people in those moments and remember, staying for the whole set or being part of that whole experience, because I was still, full time running my business. That's what paid my bills, and it still does. And I'm really grateful to have had the opportunity to have done that kind of work, and for so long with so many special people in this community.
Can we talk a little bit about, because I think I certainly didn't know until I got into the family businesses and I realized the insurance component of it as an employer who has a benefits package.
Right.
It was like drinking from a fire hose. I had no idea how difficult that is. And every single year we have to revisit it. Whose prices went up, who's went down, who's got something different. Oh, the plan changed. It's exactly the same, except for guess what? Not this anymore. There's so many different moving parts. That's why people like you and companies like yours are so helpful, because for businesses who's, our job isn't to understand insurance, except for that you gotta have somebody there who's going to partner with us to help us if we're going to offer that for our employees. So can we talk a little bit about just the calamity that is insurance for businesses and employees?
Well, and especially for small business. And if you really look at healthcare is expensive in this country for everybody. It's just for everybody. And it's just a question of who is paying more or less for it. If you work for a large employer, they have a different way where they can share costs. And if you somehow get your insurance or your coverage through some sort of governmental agency or program, that's another way. But the small employer and the entrepreneur, I really feel like for every change that I've seen, when the Affordable Care Act came on, even before then, they really pay the most for the least coverage, and it's the most difficult. And so I think that's one of the reasons that I've always been so passionate about trying to help them understand the landscape and figure out how they can make the most and get the most for their team out of the way it exists, because it's always fallen unfairly on the small employer. And so,
yeah.
yeah, and also all the small employers don't have HR departments. They don't. Usually the person that I'm dealing with is also the person that changes the toilet paper and the printer and the toner. And, so we have really tried to be that HR arm for the really small employer. And a lot of brokerages, agencies would just rather deal with the one larger employer. But I've really, really love being able to be a partner and kind of like the HR wing for a lot of these small businesses, because it is complicated and it's a lot of money. And the nice thing about small employer and family policies is that the cost of the policy, having someone help you is already built into the cost. You just have to choose the person you want to help you with it. They're all the same. The policies are all the same from the companies and the carriers, and the rates are the same, and they're pretty much set. So I like being able to take that and really help make a small employer make their jobs easier, and then when you put those benefits in place, making sure that people know who work there not to spend their time spinning their wheels on this thing, because it's hard to reach out and call us and let us help them throughout the year. And we've been doing that for the people on my team have been doing that for 20 or more years, pretty much everybody, and they know more than most of the people you'll get, any of the people you'll get on the phone when you call one of the insurance companies. Especially through the pandemic, there was a lot of turnover. And so the frustration that comes with that from a business owner's perspective, trying to get something fixed that went wrong, or from an employee's perspective, or one of their family members when they're trying to get something paid for the way it should be, or plan it the way it should be. That's really where I love the experience that we've built, and the ability, and it really is we're really able to help people with something that is not ideal, and it is expensive, and it is scary. Yeah. At least we can. One of my agents partners that I worked with for many years, Lindsay, she's so inspiring because she's really working on trying to change the way things are.
Wow.
And I'm there to help and support, but also I feel passionate about helping people get the most out of the way things are right now.
Yeah. I think both are helpful.
Yeah.
There's a reality you have to face, and then there's also could we change it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's
this
room
is so
for
broken.
both.
How can we at least fix one little part of it? And that's a huge lift.
Yeah. So what kind of a leader are you? Like what's your style? What's your are you a hands? Are you right in the middle of it all? And you're like, yeah.
I'm
okay.
a doer.
Yeah.
And I'm a very much a collaborative leader. I have a hard time saying, okay, everyone, we've talked about this for long enough. I'm the boss, and this is just what we're going to do.
Right.
And if everybody's not on board and part of it, it doesn't feel right. So I feel like I'm very collaborative, and I always feel like I should be able to and push every button that anyone else is required to push. Or it drives me crazy when I don't understand how every part of something works, even if that part of it's not my job. So I've been called a doer and a collaborator, which is reach in and do something or pull it apart and help understand it. So that way I can have a better, bigger picture view on why things are the way they are and what to do about it.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
That's good leadership right there. Very good. Okay, so we're what are we, a week out from Treefort? Yeah. So
this is the time of year where I actually let myself start looking ahead at the weather. I think there are people on our team that start trying to magic ball and call their friend at NOAA and figure out what's going to happen. I just can't. But this is the time of year where where you can actually start looking ahead, and it's Idaho. It's still going to change every day. You could be standing in the snow and it'll tell you it's sunny.
Right.
Especially during Treefort.
Yeah.
But this is the time of year I actually let myself look. We're that close.
Yeah. Okay. So if people wanted to, if they're like, what's this Treefort thing? I've never heard of this before.
I still meet those people.
Do you? That's great. That means you're still reaching new people. So for those people, how do they get tickets? What can they expect? Like as far as
my team hates it when I say this, but I think it's overwhelming for a lot of people because it's a lot. There's a lot. So many people have been over the years and continuously creating different sub-programming within the programming in different spaces. I mean, I can't even count how many spaces in the city are activated during Treefort for different things. So it's a lot. I acknowledge that. One of the things that changed about 3 years ago is we moved the main stage from downtown on basically 13th and Grove There are no more parking lots anymore to be had. So we moved the main stage to Julia Davis Park. And with that really shifted the ability to have a festival where you could just go for one full day in the park. So we've really leaned into that. So if you want to dip your toe in and you want to just spend one full weekend day or one full Friday, you can just stay in the park and you can do that kind of Treefort. Or you can wander around and just pop into venues and you can pay at the door if you want. It's a festival of discovery. So you'll usually, the things that people find that were their favorite thing were the thing they found on the way to the other thing they were trying to go to. And so,
that's awesome.
And we do have a really amazing app. Pretty early on as a project, a couple of folks who are now founded a company called Dionysus, started to make, like, they had their spreadsheets and we need an app for figuring out like where the lines are long and what are our friends going to and what's happening at what time of day. And now this app can tell you, I have this gap in my schedule. Tell me what's in this gap. I mean, we have an amazing app and you can download that for free and you can share your schedules with your friends. That's another way to approach it. But you can just show up anywhere downtown and start wandering around. There's a lot that you can do for free. But if you wanted to do the full 5-day pass, that gets you everything. I would say the Treefort expert are the ones that really know that there's the main stage, but also they know which venues are their favorites. And the 5-day pass gets you access to everything and all of that. And that's a pretty hardcore, awesome group of people that they've been doing that for 13, 14 years now. I lost count. That's like they buy that because they know they're going to jump in and out of all of the venues downtown and the main stage. But with the main stage being moved to the park, it's a much bigger space. There's Alefort. That's where that's located. You can just go to Alefort for free and listen to music from afar. So there's lots of ways to approach it from the side and just check it out. But if you do buy a 1-day pass, for example, or if you buy a 1-day main stage pass, you can always go to our box office and say, you know what, I want more. How do I turn this into something more? That's probably my biggest piece of advice is don't be afraid to pull the trigger on the pass you think you want, if it's just 1 day or just the main stage, because you'll always, you might be wrong, but it's okay. You can use it you can apply it to something else. Our box office team is amazing. But I think a lot of people look at all of the offerings that we have and all the different ways to attend and participate. And I've seen people just go, I just can't. And they're afraid of being wrong. So and also you can volunteer. A lot of people decide they want to volunteer and earn their pass. You can volunteer 3 8-hour shifts and earn your pass, your full pass. Maybe that's a second-year thing once you decide you've fallen in love with it. But just wandering around town and kind of getting a feel for things is also a great way to do it. You can see and hear a lot just doing it that way.
And it's not one genre. So if you're like, well, that rock and roll stuff seems like there's probably something for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's all different types of music.
Yeah, and I'm like trying to think of what we don't have, and you can find anything from, indie alt country to death metal.
Wow.
And all ages. We have Kid Fort that really is focused on getting young people involved and cross over with all the other forts like Hack Fort and Yoga Fort and Story Fort. Kid Fort is a great way to go down with your young folks and participate in the festival with them, not just a place to put them. Lots of activities and crossover things for people of all ages, even down to the toddlers that you bring down to the park. There's all sorts of things for you to interact with them down there as well. So it's for people of all music tastes and all ages.
Nice. I heard you say earlier, you were talking about Treefort and you said it's almost there. So I'm wondering what is there? Well,
and that's the part that I think we always guard a little carefully because it's financially been very challenging.
Sure.
And we have worked hard for a long time just to get through the losses of the pandemic and and what, debts that has caused. And then growing our team, having that year-round team, and building out the venue, and then getting the chance to take over the shrine. That's so really, when I say almost there in my mind, I'm thinking about the kind of financial stability for our team that needs to be there. From where we've come from, I'd say we were doing great going into that 2020 festival, just having the year-round promotion team, and the festival was doing great. I was able to just kind of go back to my day job and be at a leadership level. It was really, and then everything. We had a pandemic, and then we got opportunities to build what we thought we could with that year-round ecosystem of live music that people can work in. And so that's really what I mean when I think people look at it and they're like, people are out drinking and it's full and you guys must be rolling in money. And that's just not the case at all. So as hard as we try, and we have had some really amazing investors and private debt that we've been able to work out with great people in the community, and really, really amazing advisors in this community, people that they're really smart and have made lots of impact and been very smart business people who have really been willing to sit down with us and take the time to help us solve problems and help us get to there that I feel like we're almost there. But that's kind of the financial challenge of what we've been through and what we've built at the same time.
Makes sense.
Getting there.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of getting there, I'm going to take a moment to thank our sponsor.
Oh.
So this episode is brought to you by Zamzows, your local source for garden, pet, and planet friendly. Easy for me to say. Salad. This episode is brought to you by Zamzows, your local source for garden, pet, and planet-friendly products. As a thank you to our Nobody Knowz listeners, you can use the code Treefort, that's all one word, at checkout at zamzows.com, and you'll receive 10% off your online order. The discount applies automatically and is valid online only and excludes lawn programs. And this one will run through June 30th of 2026.
Nobody knows like Zamzows.
So question.
Yeah.
Can I buy cat collars? Do that discount?
You know what you ought to do is you just put it out to the neighborhood. I bet all of us would just buy you cat collars because we love your cat so much. We'd probably furnish the food and everything. We love your cat so much.
Oh, the one neighbor that's the one that I've communicated with the longest. He gets mad at her if she's the one that told me that. I said he stopped eating food at home, and she said, "Oh, this is the food I get for him, and he really loves it." And here's how you get it. You can't get it locally. And I'm just like, okay, we're like crazy cat ladies. We decided we're going to get jackets, but
I love it.
He comes by her house the same time every day because she has food out for him, a warm cat house, and a heated water bowl.
Yeah, I think the entire neighborhood would do anything for that cat. We just
happy.
love him so much. We're going to move into a segment called Sharing is Caring. And it's going to be kind of quick rapid fire questions. My first one is not written here. Is that an Oura ring that I see on your finger? Okay, so my question for you is, what is your readiness score today?
74.
Ooh.
I thought it wasn't good.
No.
I was kind of surprised. I felt like I'd slept pretty well last night. And I had a hip surgery in November.
Oh.
My family, we have bad hips. So my sleep score has been abysmal for years and it started to improve now because I can sleep through the night. And I was so excited. I got up this morning. I was 74.
I know, it's so disappointing, isn't it?
I've had days where it says, it's going to be okay. I was like, that's when you need the pep talk from your Oura Ring app. That's a bad day.
I really hate it when it says you're showing minor signs and you're like, I actually feel pretty good. I don't think but then all of a sudden psychologically you're like, I guess I better take it easy today.
What about my heart rate?
No, the heart rate variance. Okay. That's the problem. I'm just like, we're crying out loud with the heart rate variance. It's like I can't win on that one.
Yeah, that's the one that you can't trick it by.
Right.
Like, you can't say like what. It knows how much wine you had.
Yeah.
That's what it's really telling you.
Dadgummit. I do love it though. I'm a huge advocate for it. Clint and I have had ours for I think it's about 3 years now, and we just upgraded to the latest one, which we were like, I don't really even know what we got with the upgrade, but it's just fun to say that
I know. I did that. I upgraded to that ceramic one.
Yes, I noticed that. It looks very pretty, which is why I had to ask. I'm like, it's so pretty compared to mine.
I've lost a couple. And that's not good.
No.
But
That's
I was
discouraging
like-
because you lose all this, like, there's a chunk of data when you're not wearing it.
I know. And
that
that's
you've lost.
And I've realized that's when I realized I was a junkie, because I was like, I can't do it. I gotta go to Best Buy right now.
So true. It has changed our lives, and also it is kind of the master of everything.
It's good nerd fun.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Our funniest thing is now it'll be like, 4:00 in the afternoon. We're like, well, we better eat because we don't want, if we eat late, Oro will call us out on it and tell us that that's why our sleep score is so low.
Gotten up in the middle of the night and been like, you probably shouldn't have that. It's going to know.
It's going to call you out on it.
A popsicle really at 3 a.m?
Someday it's going to be like that.
Yeah.
It'll speak to it. No on the popsicle
Right.
at 3 a.m. Go back to bed.
We've talked about this.
We're totally digressing, but my husband and I will laugh at when we go to the grocery store and we do the self-checkout. Sometimes one of us will speak up and be like, we're the checkout, like the automatic checkout robot. And we'll see other things like, really, did you need those ice cream sandwiches? Put them away.
Do you think 2 boxes? Really?
Exactly.
Or just be like, you're only buying one of those? That's not realistic.
That's true. That's exactly it. Okay, totally digress. Now we're really going to talk about, we're going to do the sharing is caring now for legit. All right. How about a Boise venue that gives you chills?
Oh, I know. I saw that in the lead up, and I'm just like, honestly, I would have to say the main stage, Treefort main stage. Like, just looking out over the people over the years, it never gets old.
I can only imagine.
I don't watch the bands as much as I just watch the people and that feeling.
That's nothing like it.
Yeah.
Like that's real community right there. Like that's really feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you go to like long-term year-round, you can feel everything that's special in the history that's happened in the Neurolux, even when there's 10 people in there.
Oh, the Neurolux.
I wish, I get kind of annoyed with the people that grew up here and tell me about all the bands that they saw there. And,
I know.
And
isn't it wild?
And I'm just like, okay, cool. I wasn't here for that. Thanks. But you can feel it in there.
Yeah.
It's just, and the people that work there and have run it for years and have even evolved over time. And Alan, you can feel the special family and the culture and the people and the special things that have happened there.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great answer. How about an emerging artist or a sound that you're excited about?
Oh, people ask me that all the time. I don't know. I think what I have discovered is I don't plan my Treefort. I just end up in moments with people in front of bands, and I love that. All right, I'm going to say it. I don't really get geese. It's like not my thing, and it's okay to say that out loud. In this moment in time, I have 2 daughters. They were 5 and 8 at the first Treefort, and Ellie rode her bike for the first time without training wheels down to the first Treefort, and now they're 19 and 22. And Addie is super into geese, and Ellie and I look at each other and we're like, "Is it okay to say I don't get it?" Like I understand I get it, like on paper, but what I'm really excited for, and it's probably the same thing as Sophie Tucker last year, is how excited people are. And to really to see that special moment of something that hasn't happened in Boise in a certain way in music, like having that Sophie Tucker show last year hasn't happened. Something like that hasn't happened like that. And I get really excited about watching those moments. And I think that I'm really excited for all of the people to be there in that moment when that band takes the stage, because of the unique moment that they're in, and where that's going to intersect.
Cool.
So it's not really the band itself, but more the moment.
Yeah. Okay. How about a Treefort moment that always makes you emotional?
Oh, I'm going to say, so when we had to cancel Treefort of 2020, March, it's always March. We thought we would just kick it down the road 6 months, but then quickly realized that was not going to be long enough. So the next Treefort that we had was September of 2021. And that was we call it I call it the unicorn Treefort. The weather was perfect. The weather was perfect every day. We still weren't totally out of the pandemic. We navigated a lot of stuff, but just the energy and the joy and the gratitude and that was a really special moment of watching people how lucky they felt and excited they were to come back and be part of that and be present at a Treefort again. And it was like 75 degrees. So it
like
just
perfect.
Definitely felt like unicorns and rainbows.
Gives me goosebumps. Okay, it's time now for the question that we ask everybody. There are no rules. So here's the question. What is something that nobody knows?
I had a couple, and I think one is embarrassing.
Let's do that one.
Yeah. I had lived here for, I gotta think about this, maybe 10 years. And I went into the Neurolux with someone. So it must have been like, I don't know, 2008. And someone said, "That's Doug Marsh sitting over there." And I said, "Who's that?" And there's like, lead singer of Build Spill. And I was like, "Is that a band?" And that is embarrassing. I did not grow up lucky enough to have listened. I grew up with mainstream radio. My parents were older. They listened to Statler Brothers, and I was not exposed to a lot. So I'm making up for it. I'm trying to.
Oh, boy.
I missed
And
a
then
lot.
some.
I missed a lot. And Doug is a wonderful, nice person. And really, I think the original sponsor of Treefort, because when he agreed to play that original Treefort, his band, that's where so many artists wanted to be on a stage or on a bill with Built to Spill because of how many artists they have inspired over the years. So, but that's super embarrassing. That was like 2008, and I was like, "Who? What?"
What an authentic, wonderful answer. I think there are lots of people who would just hide that because now you're like, well, you know, how could she be good at this if she didn't even know that? And that's the kind of stuff that I love to share with the people who are listening so that they can be more real themselves, because it's okay. It's actually quite charming, I think.
God, I have never said that out loud, I'm pretty sure. And it's embarrassing, and it's also sad for me. So that's what people should think, is that's so sad for you, that you in all those years listening to mainstream music that other people fed you and didn't discover something like that earlier.
Well, it built who you are today. So, I mean, whatever, right?
Sure, right. True.
If people want to learn more about Treefort, how do they find you?
TreefortMusicFest.com is everything should be there. You can also, ask your person sitting next to you what they know. But the app is also a really great way to discover what's happening and see it all in one place. So, but our website's great. If you follow us on, if you follow Duck Club, if you follow the Duck Club, Treefort, the Music Hall, the Shrine on Instagram, Facebook, all the socials, you get a lot of content and things to be excited about. But starting at the website is probably a good place to go.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for being here. But more importantly, thank you for helping create something that has completely changed the community. And thank you for leading all the people who make it happen every year.
You're welcome. I've gotten much better at saying you're welcome and being proud of what I contributed to all of that, as opposed to brushing that under the rug. And because it took so many people in the right moment in the right time, but I'm really grateful and feel lucky and proud that I was there in the part that I did.
So good. So good.
Thank you for loving my cat.
I can't help it. You don't have to thank me. I can't help it.
You're one of the few people that has seen the part of me that I'm afraid people think is crazy, because it's like, hey. So that's a very private moment that I wanted to thank you for being a part of. My vulnerability.
I love being, and I'm not saying that lightly, I love being part of Rudy's life. I love it. I absolutely love it. He's welcome at our house anytime. And so are you to come get him.
I do have one neighbor that I felt bad for because he was using her flower bed as a litter box. So I came to Zamzo's and I said, what can I get to discourage my cat from doing that? And then also bought her a very large, beautiful flower planter. And as thanks, I think that's the one person I'm always afraid that he's not making someone's life better. So,
Yeah.
So thanks for help with that.
Well, you're welcome. This is a mutual admiration society. I like it. All right. Well, if you enjoyed today's conversation, please follow the podcast. And I'd love it if you left a review. Next week, we'll hear from another incredible voice shaping the Treasure Valley. And until then, thank you for listening.